Once branded a plague on the land, rabbits have transformed from ecological menace to a thriving cornerstone of modern farming. Brought to Australia in the 18th century, they exploded in number, devastating fields and wildlife. Today, that same rapid reproduction powers a sustainable industry, producing tens of thousands of high-quality rabbits each year. Join us as we explore the remarkable world of modern rabbit farms. Breeding and biosecurity. Rabbit farming at a professional scale starts with breeding, and today's setups make it fast, consistent, and predictable. In a modern breeding room, one trained worker can arrange hundreds of matings before lunch. Some are done naturally, while many more are handled through artificial insemination. Natural mating is simple but hands-on. The female rabbit is called a doe, and the male is called a buck. A handler places the doe in the buck's cage, waits for a clean fall-off when the buck finishes mating and falls to the side or back, showing the mating was complete, and removes her quickly to avoid stress or injury. A typical setup is one buck for about 8 to 10 does. Artificial insemination follows a clear process. Collect semen using an artificial vagina, extend it in a buffer, standardize the dose, and inseminate the doe quickly and gently. Most programs use about half a milliliter per doe, aiming for 10 to over 20 million motile sperm per dose. Adding GnRH at the time of insemination triggers ovulation without the need for a male. Rabbits are induced ovulators, meaning they only release eggs after a specific trigger. On farms, that trigger comes from either a tiny intramuscular injection of GnRH or adding a GnRH analog directly to the semen dose. Research has shown that an intravaginal dose of around 16 micrograms of buserelin works just as well as the injection. Many breeding centers prefer this method because it speeds up handling while keeping conception rates high. The benefits are clear: more pregnancies, tighter breeding windows, and better use of labor. Commercial farms stick to a strict schedule. In much of Europe, does are inseminated about 11 days after kindling, which means giving birth, and their kits are weaned, meaning separated from the mother so they can eat and grow on their own, around 4 weeks later, repeating the cycle again and again. This keeps groups the same age and makes it easy to plan production months ahead. With this system, related tasks, pregnancy checks, nest box preparation, and weaning can all be done in a fixed rhythm without moving bucks around. Gestation is short, around 31 to 32 days. Most farms feel the abdomen 2 weeks after breeding to confirm pregnancy, then assign nest boxes late in the 3rd week. Weaning usually happens between 4 and 6 weeks, depending on the farm's rules and goals. Some welfare-focused farms extend lactation to 7 or 8 weeks, which can reduce stress at separation but slows the overall cycle. Genetics are kept practical. The New Zealand White and Californian are the most common breeds because they produce large, even litters, recover quickly between breedings, and deliver uniform carcasses. Crosses between these breeds are also popular, boosting total meat yield and farm efficiency. Selection focuses on litter size, mothering ability, and maintaining consistent performance over time. Strong biosecurity, which means preventing diseases from entering or spreading in the herd, is a must. Breeder rooms are separated from grow-out rooms with one-way entry points, hand washing, and boot dips. Farms control insects and rodents, clean or replace nest boxes when soiled, and sanitize them between litters. New animals are quarantined, health problems are tracked, and poor performers are removed from the breeding program. In areas with disease risks, bucks and does are vaccinated against myxomatosis and rabbit hemorrhagic disease using approved combination vaccines. This protects breeding animals and reduces the risk of outbreaks spreading to kits. Comfort and careful handling are key. Adult rabbits thrive at about 61 to 72 degrees Fahrenheit with good airflow and moderate humidity. Heat is much more dangerous than cold. Above 85 degrees Fahrenheit, the risk of losses rises quickly. Barns use ventilation, shade, and cooling systems to keep temperatures safe. When handled, rabbits are always supported under the chest and hindquarters, kept calm, and moved quietly. Stress-free animals breed and raise young more successfully. Nest boxes, which are the enclosed spaces where does give birth and nurse their young, are designed for warmth and protection. Recommended internal sizes run about 14 to 18 inches wide, 9 to 11 inches long, and 12 to 15 inches high. The bedding is simple: clean straw or shavings, replaced if damp, to prevent chilling in the first days after birth, when kits cannot control their body temperature. Record keeping ties the whole system together. Every breeding, whether natural or by AI, is logged with the doe's ID, the time, the dose lot, and the hormone used. Pregnancy checks, kindling dates, nest box assignments, and weaning dates are added to the same record. Each litter gets a batch ID that stays with the kits after weaning, so later production stages know exactly where they came from. This also satisfies traceability rules in markets that require animals to be linked to their source. When the kits are weaned, that breeding cycle is complete. They leave the breeder room with their batch tags and move into the next stage, where feeding, water supply, and housing take over. From there, the focus shifts to growing them to market weight. Growing rabbits for market. From the moment young rabbits are separated from their mothers, the goal changes completely. Now it's all about getting those rabbits to market weight as quickly, safely, and efficiently as possible. This stage is called grow-out, and it covers every day between weaning and slaughter. Walk into a commercial grow-out barn, and you'll instantly hear a steady chorus of clicks from hundreds of rabbits drinking from automatic nipple drinkers while chewing on neat piles of pelleted feed. These systems are not just for show. They keep water clean, feed consistent, and growth steady. Pellets and fresh water do almost all the work, though some farms add small amounts of vegetables or fruit for extra vitamins and gut health. Water is the real growth engine. A simple rule is that a rabbit drinks roughly 0.8 to 2.3 fluid ounces per pound each day. In hot weather or for nursing females, that number can jump even higher. Automatic nipple drinkers match the rabbit's natural drinking pattern, small sips throughout the day, while keeping the water clean and fresh. They also cut down on mess, but only if the flow is set right. A leak doesn't just waste water, it soaks the floor, raises ammonia levels, and creates perfect conditions for health problems. Feed in a grow-out barn is designed to give the same nutrition in every bite. Pellets are made with alfalfa for fiber, grains for energy, and a protein and mineral mix to keep growth steady and digestion healthy. Many farmers also hang hay racks to give rabbits something extra to chew, which helps keep their teeth in good shape and their digestion moving. One number you'll hear a lot is feed conversion ratio, or FCR. It measures how many pounds of feed it takes to add 1 pound of live weight. Rabbits are efficient compared to many meat animals, usually around 2.0 to 2.3 on grain-rich diets, and about 3.0 to 3.8 on diets with more forage. Lower is always better, because feed is the single biggest cost in rabbit farming. How long rabbits stay in grow-out depends entirely on the market. In the United States, farms producing fryers aim for 8 to 12 weeks old at about 3.5 to 5.5 pounds live weight. Some European buyers want heavier rabbits, around 5 to 5.5 pounds. The USDA uses fryer for rabbits under 12 weeks and 1.5 to 3.5 pounds live weight. Older and heavier rabbits are put in different categories. The key is simple. Know what your buyer wants and manage feeding and timing to hit that exact target. Another important number is the dressing percentage, the carcass weight divided by live weight, given as a percentage. This tells you how much saleable meat you'll get from the live rabbits in your barn. Rabbits usually dress out at about 50 to 56%, depending on genetics, live weight, and whether the liver and kidneys are included. You don't need this number for daily chores, but it's essential for predicting final yields. Barn conditions can make or break growth. Rabbits handle cool weather well, but do poorly in heat. They can't sweat, so once temperatures climb into the upper 70s, heat stress starts to build. At 86 degrees Fahrenheit and above, you'll see feed intake, growth rates, and even breeding performance drop sharply. Ventilation is your main defense. Move enough air to carry away heat and moisture while keeping ammonia low. Ammonia levels spike when pens are wet or cleaning is skipped, and it irritates eyes, damages airways, and increases disease risk. Studies consistently show that keeping barns between 77 and 86 degrees with good airflow makes a big difference. Lighting is another tool that's easy to overlook. Rabbits grow best when they have a consistent day-night rhythm. Give them at least 8 hours of light and 8 hours of darkness every day. Transition from light to dark gradually to avoid startling them. Constant light isn't necessary and can even be harmful. Rest is just as important as activity for good growth. Daily health checks in grow-out focus on two main areas: digestion and feet. The biggest threat here is coccidiosis, a parasitic disease caused by Eimeria. It can damage the intestine or liver and quickly slow or stop growth. Most farms prevent it with medicated feed or targeted treatments like amprolium or toltrazuril, always under veterinary direction. Good pen hygiene, dry bedding, consistent fiber in the diet, and clean air all help reduce the risk. Pen design and space allowance have a huge effect on both welfare and production. Modern recommendations favor open pens or raised pens with solid resting areas and platforms instead of cramped wire cages. These not only improve behavior, but also make cleaning easier and keep air moving where the rabbits actually live. For rabbits growing to about 5 pounds live weight, welfare guidelines suggest at least 1.24 square feet of space per rabbit. enough for them to lie down fully and avoid constant competition. Feeding and watering equipment should be positioned to prevent waste. Feeders high enough to keep pellets clean, and nipple drinkers just above nose height so rabbits can drink without splashing water onto the floor. Good records are as important here as they are in breeding. Weigh a sample of rabbits from each pen every week and track their average daily gain, or ADG. ADG is simply the average weight each rabbit gains per day. Compare this with your FCR to see how efficiently feed is turning into growth. If one pen is behind, check feed, water, and ventilation immediately. If several pens are behind, look for a larger issue, a broken water line, a blocked feeder, or a problem in the feed itself. Comparing your numbers to published growth charts for 8, 10, and 12-week rabbits helps you spot trouble early. As market weight approaches, resist the urge to change feed unless a nutritionist tells you to. Sudden changes can upset digestion and slow weight gain. Keep the barn cool, dry, and consistent with airflow and lighting. If your buyer pays more for heavier rabbits, you can extend the grow-out period by a week or two, but be aware that FCR gets worse as rabbits age. Every extra pound takes more feed to produce, so the extra time only makes sense if the higher price covers the added cost. When the rabbits hit the exact weight and age you're aiming for, the last step is preparing them for transport. Each batch is booked with the processor by lot number, so the plant knows exactly what's coming. On shipping day, rabbits are gently loaded into stackable crates with ventilation on all sides. Loading should be quick but calm. Handling stress, overcrowding, and poor airflow during transport can undo months of careful work in just a few hours. With the right handling from start to finish, the grow-out stage delivers healthy, well-finished rabbits ready for the next step in production. Slaughter and factory processing. We're now deep in the slaughter and processing stage of rabbit production, the point where healthy, live rabbits arrive at the plant and leave as fully chilled, ready-to-package carcasses. This is where speed, precision, and discipline collide. In small specialty plants, the line might move at a calm 50 rabbits per hour. In massive industrial facilities, especially in parts of Europe, the pace can explode to anywhere from 600 to more than 3,600 rabbits every single hour. At these speeds, there's no room for sloppy handling or guesswork. Every action, from unloading the crates to chilling the meat, is locked into strict routines to ensure rabbits are treated humanely, and the final product is safe, clean, and consistent. It all begins the second the delivery truck pulls into the plant. Workers unload the crates into a shaded holding zone with plenty of airflow. This short waiting period is called lairage, and it's not meant to last long. Rabbits are extremely sensitive to heat, so the holding area has to stay in their comfort range, roughly 60 to 75 degrees Fahrenheit. After a fast welfare check to be sure every rabbit is alert and healthy, the crates are moved toward the stunning area. The processing steps run in a clear sequence: pre-stunning, stunning, then bleeding. Pre-stunning is simply removing rabbits from their crates calmly and holding them just long enough to position the stunning equipment. The most common technique is head-only electrical stunning. Electrodes are placed on both sides of the head, so current passes through the brain. Workers look for obvious signs of unconsciousness. The rabbit doesn't try to right itself, breathing is no longer rhythmic, and it doesn't react to a firm pinch. Captive bolt stunning, both penetrating and non-penetrating, is another acceptable method when done right. Gas stunning has been tested on rabbits, but it isn't approved for use in the EU, and regulators say more research is needed. No matter the method, the stun-to-stick interval, the time from stunning to cutting the neck vessels, must be kept short so there's no chance the rabbit wakes back up. Bleeding follows immediately. A trained operator makes a quick, precise cut to the major neck vessels, then keeps checking for any sign of returning consciousness until death is confirmed. EU rules require these checks at 3 points: right after stunning, right before cutting, and during bleeding. It's a safeguard that keeps the process humane and consistent, even when the line is moving fast. Once death is confirmed, the carcass heads to the dressing line. Rabbits are handled differently from pigs or poultry. There's no scalding step. The hide is removed first, followed by the head and feet, according to the plant's product specifications. Then comes evisceration, the removal of the internal organs. Edible offals like the heart, liver, and kidneys are separated if they're part of the order. Inspectors or trained plant staff, where the system allows, check every carcass for contamination. If there's even a small smear of feces or stomach contents, it's trimmed away immediately. Modern meat plants have zero tolerance for visible contamination. Only drinkable water is used for washing, and plants maintain strict separation between dirty areas, where hides and inedible parts are handled, and clean areas, where dressed carcasses move toward chilling. These hygiene steps aren't just best practice, they're required under meat safety laws. Another key word you'll hear is HACCP, hazard analysis and critical control points. This is the plant's master safety plan. It lists all possible hazards, identifies where they must be controlled, sets clear limits, and spells out how they'll be monitored and recorded. On a rabbit line, common critical points include checking for visible contamination, controlling time and temperature during chilling, and ensuring all water used in processing is safe. HACCP relies on prerequisite programs like pest control, thorough sanitation, and hygiene training for staff to keep the whole system running smoothly. After evisceration, carcasses go straight to chilling. The goal here is to get heat out fast and evenly, while allowing rigor mortis, the natural stiffening of muscles after death, to run its course under controlled cold. Studies show the best results come from holding carcasses at about 39 degrees Fahrenheit for at least 18 hours before further processing or freezing. This ensures the meat is tender and holds moisture well. Some plants fine-tune airflow in the chill room to remove heat quickly without drying out the surface. Steady, moderate air movement over the first day is the sweet spot. Fast enough to cool evenly, slow enough to avoid surface crusting. By this point, yield numbers start matching what farms planned for. Dressing percentage, carcass weight as a share of live weight, usually falls in the low to mid-50s for rabbits, depending on the breed, the size, and whether the head and edible organs are included. In many markets, the heart, liver, and kidneys are sold with the carcass, which increases the amount of saleable product. Plants pass these yield figures back to farms so they can tweak shipping weights and delivery schedules for better efficiency. Food safety rules for rabbits mirror poultry in many ways. The top priorities are keeping contamination off the carcass, getting the internal temperature down fast, and holding it cold until it leaves the plant. Rabbit meat is prone to spoilage from cold-tolerant bacteria that grow even in a refrigerator if given enough time. Research shows these bacteria dominate when chilling or storage isn't tight enough. That's why plants move carcasses quickly through chill tunnels, insist on clean gloves and tools at all times, and store meat at safe, stable temperatures until it's packaged. If you look closely at a well-designed rabbit line, you'll see everything flows in one clear direction. Live animals and hides move one way, clean carcasses move another. The equipment is built to be easy to clean, with drip trays and splash guards to keep contamination from spreading. Knife sterilizers are placed at every point where blades touch meat. Any trim removed after inspection goes into separate bins marked for rework. Backup stun equipment is always ready, so any failure can be corrected instantly without delay. Everything ends in the cold room. Here, staff track carcass core temperatures and monitor room conditions constantly. Many plants set alarms to alert them if the temperature starts to drift. Some have even tested simple methods like loosely wrapping carcasses during the first day of chilling to reduce surface drying while still hitting the 39-degree goal. The principle stays the same. Remove heat quickly, prevent contamination, and let rigor mortis finish before any further processing. Once the carcasses are fully chilled, trimmed, and up to spec, they leave the processing floor for the next stage: packaging, labeling, and entering the cold chain. From here, shelf life, product appearance, and full traceability are set. That next stage is where the meat's journey shifts from the plant to the marketplace, and it's the part that decides how the final product reaches the customer in perfect condition. Packaging, transport, and nutrition. Pick up a chilled rabbit carcass from the packing deck, and the first thing your eyes land on is the label. That small rectangle of paper and ink is like a passport. It tells you exactly where this animal came from, when it was processed, and when you should eat it by. In plants that follow strict European hygiene rules, there's also a distinctive oval mark with a country code and a plant approval number. That oval isn't just decoration. It's proof that the meat came from a facility approved to meet hygiene standards at every single step, from slaughter to sealing. From there, the meat is packed to match the customer's order. Some buyers want the whole rabbit, fur-trimmed and ready for roasting. Others ask for only the juicy hind legs or the tender loins. The style of packaging changes too. You might see it in a basic tray with cling-style film stretched tight over the top. Some processors go for vacuum sealing, where all the air is sucked out before the pack is heat-sealed. Then there's the high-tech method called modified atmosphere packaging, or MAP. Here, the air inside the pack is replaced with a special gas mix, often heavy on carbon dioxide, with nitrogen and sometimes a dash of oxygen, to slow down spoilage. Whatever the format, that oval identification mark has to stay clear and permanent, with the country code and plant number easy to read. Shelf life depends heavily on how the meat is packed and how cold it's kept. The simplest overwrap trays look great in the store, but they let a little air in. That oxygen speeds up the work of bacteria, so these packs usually keep only about 5 to 7 days in a fridge before the quality drops. Studies on fresh and ground rabbit have shown that meat in overwrap trays discolors and spoils faster than with other methods. Vacuum packs do better because removing the air slows the bacteria that thrive in oxygen. In controlled tests, the vacuum-packed ground rabbit lasted about 10 days in the fridge. MAP can stretch that window even more, but only if the gas mix and the temperature are just right. In one study, rabbit hind legs sealed in 100% carbon dioxide stayed good for around 5 weeks. By comparison, vacuum packs lasted 3 to 4 weeks, and oxygen-containing MAP mixes gave about 18 to 21 days. More recent research backs this up. Carbon dioxide-rich MAP slows the growth of spoilage bacteria and can keep quality acceptable for about 3 weeks if temperatures are tightly held. These are lab numbers, but commercial plants follow the same rule. More carbon dioxide plus rock-solid cold equals more days on the shelf. And that's where the cold chain comes in. From the moment the carcasses are chilled at the plant, the core temperature has to be 39 degrees Fahrenheit or lower before they're cleared to leave. On the truck, that temperature has to stay locked in. Many plants now use air chilling, blowing frigid air over the meat, to pull the heat out quickly. For frozen rabbits, the standard is to get it down to 0 degrees Fahrenheit or colder as fast as possible, and keep it there until it's sold. Refrigerated trucks and storage coolers use built-in data loggers that constantly record the temperature, so there's a complete record from plant to store. Freezing stops bacteria cold, literally. At 0 degrees Fahrenheit, growth stops completely, and the meat is safe indefinitely. But while safety doesn't expire, quality slowly fades. So companies set their own best-before dates for frozen meat based on the cut and the packaging. The packaging isn't just about freshness, it's also about traceability. The batch code links the meat to a specific lot in the plant, which connects to a batch from a specific farm. That oval stamp shows exactly where it was processed and proves that it followed approved hygiene rules. If there's ever a problem, that information lets a retailer pull only the affected lot from shelves instead of wasting good products. As for where all this rabbit ends up, the production map is surprisingly uneven. China produces more than half of the world's rabbit and hare meat. In 2021, the country accounted for roughly 53% of global output. In the European Union, Italy, Spain, and France are the biggest consumers, but the EU average is just over 1 pound per person per year. China's average is a bit higher at about 1.3 pounds per person. Outside these main markets, rabbit consumption is more seasonal and varies widely. Nutritionally, rabbit meat is lean, high in protein, and low in fat. In raw domestic rabbit, a standard 3.5-ounce serving has roughly 134 to 136 calories, around 20 grams of protein, about 5.5 grams of fat, and virtually no carbs. It's also a solid source of vitamin B12 and iron. These numbers barely change between cuts, so the lean high-protein profile is consistent across the board. The packaging itself helps lock in those nutritional qualities. Overwrap trays are great for products that will sell quickly and need to look good on display. Vacuum packs keep oxygen out and hold in the natural juices. MAP slows down bacterial growth and color changes, keeping the meat appealing for longer. Processors sometimes slip absorbent pads into the trays to catch any liquid. Some of these pads are active, releasing natural antimicrobials to keep flavor and appearance stable. Regardless of the style, the golden rules are the same. Keep the product cold, keep the seals tight, and label everything clearly. Once in the store, the cold chain continues. Display cases stay at 39 degrees Fahrenheit or below, and staff check and log the temperature regularly. Any pack that leaks or swells is pulled right away. Stock rotation is strict, oldest out first, so customers always get the freshest meat. Labels include safe handling instructions, reminding buyers to keep it cold on the way home, refrigerate it at 40 degrees or below, and cook or freeze it promptly. If freezing, go straight to 0 degrees Fahrenheit. Different cuts fit different cooking styles. Hind legs and loins are favorites for their meaty texture and easy portions. Whole carcasses are chosen for traditional recipes and special occasions. But no matter the cut, the storage and packaging rules never change. Keep it cold, keep it sealed, and keep it safe. When you look back at that label, the batch code, the dates, the oval stamp, you're holding the final chapter of a journey that started on a farm and went through careful processing, chilling, and packing. Those few small details, combined with temperatures kept between 32 and 39 degrees Fahrenheit and the right packaging, are what make sure rabbit meat reaches the customer exactly as it should: fresh, safe, and ready to cook. Thanks for watching. See you in our next video.